Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Jack and in today's video we are going to be pitting these four table saws up against each other to see which one offers the best value for money. And before I start, I do want to state for the record that this video is not being sponsored and the scores are based on my own personal opinion, which might trigger some viewers, so you have been warned. So without further ado, let's introduce today's contestants. I'll start here with the Dewalt DWE7485, which will always have a soft spot in my heart because it was the first table saw that I ever purchased. It's also the first tool review that I put up on this channel. Known for its robust build and accuracy, the Dewalt is sure to put up a good fight. Next up, we've got the SKIL 1340, a solid option for anyone looking for their first saw, and I'm just going to come right out and say it. This one definitely looks the best. Maybe it's just my personal taste, but the red and black on this thing is really doing bits for me. Next, we've got the Evolution R255 TBL Plus. It comes packed with a ton of features, and Evolution has really been making strides recently to raise the bar for all budget table saws, and this latest model is no exception. And finally, we've got the Einhell, which is the most budget-friendly option out of all of these saws that we're looking at today. Interestingly, I did pick up this table saw in my penny to £1,000 series, and I wanted to include it in today's video to really showcase what you can come to expect from the lower end of the table saws that are on offer. In order to determine which one of the four table saws behind me comes out on top, I'm going to be scoring each of them against 5 key categories. This includes build quality, accuracy, ease of use, features, and the price and value. Starting us off, we're going to be looking at the build quality, and right off the bat, I don't think anyone will be surprised that the Dewalt is going to be getting itself a 5 out of 5 here. The Evolution also comes in as a very solid build quality, with all of the same materials being used on the Dewalt. This is also going to earn itself a 5. The SKIL, it's a very well-built saw with a lot of very strong materials used. I am, however, going to be deducting 1 point because of the use of the plastic throat plate, unlike on the Evolution and the Dewalt, where that throat plate is going to be metal. And due to its cheaper materials and just general wobbliness, I'm going to be giving the Einhell a 2. Next up, we're going to be looking at accuracy, and specifically what we're looking for here is the ease of getting an accurate and consistent cut. And I'm just going to jump in right ahead and say it, that because of the rack and pinion system that you can find on the Dewalt, the SKIL, and the Evolution, all three of these will be earning themselves the full 5 points that are available. The rack and pinion system has become infamous because of how accurate you can get these saws to be. By simply flicking the lever on the side of the saw and then rotating the knob on the front, you can effortlessly change the distance that your fence sits from the blade and then simply lock it into place. The Einhell, however, is a perfect example of what you can expect from a slightly cheaper saw, where this has a lever and clamping system which allows you to move it along manually and then clamp it down. This is, however, only held in at one end, so when you're pushing material through, you get quite a lot of movement in that material, which usually results in an inconsistent and inaccurate cut. And because of that poor fence and locking system, the Einhell earns itself a 2 here. Now, the ease of use is another critical factor that we are going to be assessing these saws against. The Dewalt saw was ready out of the box, and I didn't have to make one calibration or pull out an Allen key for any reason. And I think for that reason, if you are new to owning a table saw, this is going to be a really nice place to start, and it's because of that I'm going to be giving the Dewalt a 5 in this category. The Evolution and the SKIL, however, did require a fair bit of calibration and setting up before they were ready to use, and I do think if you are new to using a table saw, this can be a slightly scary and alien process, and because of that, both of these are going to be scored a 3. And in the case of the Einhell, and I know this because I built this on camera in the penny to £1,000 series, took a lot of setup. There were a considerable amount of screws, and I didn't even bother calibrating it because of how inconsistent this fence is. Because of all of that, the Einhell gets itself a 2. Up next, its features, and in the lead here has got to be the Evolution. You are getting everything that you get on all of these saws, plus you're getting an inbuilt outfeed table, as well as a really nice sliding panel, which will increase the depth of your crosscuts. The Dewalt scores itself a 4 here, and that is largely due to the fact that the blade is slightly smaller, than any of the other three that we're looking at. This blade comes in at 210mm, which is going to limit you, especially if you need to cut thicker material. Now, the SKIL pretty much totally mimics all of the features that are available on the Dewalt saw. However, you are getting the slightly bigger blade at 255mm, but because of the lack of soft start on the motor, which can be quite jarring and is very, very loud, I am going to mark this down an additional point, which means the SKIL gets a 3 here. And lastly, the Einhell, which doesn't come with a lot of features at all, especially when compared to the other three. You're not getting the rack and pinion system, you don't get soft start, you don't get anywhere on the saw to actually store any of the accessories that come with it. And because of all of that, I'm giving the Einhell a 2. So finally, it's time to talk about the price. And this category will be taking into consideration everything that we've spoke about throughout this video. The Dewalt has recently had a price drop, and if you know where to look and don't include that stand, you could expect this to set you back £399. The SKIL has been incredibly hard to get hold of, especially if you're like me and you're based in the UK, but you can still find it in some dark corners of the internet, and you should be prepared to pay about £390. The Evolution is available in 2 models, and here we have the more expensive model. This is the Plus version, which will set you back £379.99. And if you did want the cheaper model, that's available at £329.99. But bear in mind that there are a few less features on that. And lastly, we have the Einhell, which comparatively is a bargain, available at £119.99. Because of all of those nice to have features that are included on the Evolution, and considering that this is cheaper than the Dewalt and the SKIL, I'm going to be giving the full 5 points to the Evolution saw here. The Dewalt being available at £399 does make it the most expensive out of all of the saws that we're looking at today. However, I do think the build quality and features included justify the price, but you're not going to get quite as much value for money as you are out of the Evolution, so the Dewalt earns itself a 4. The SKIL is the second most expensive saw today. However, in my opinion, it doesn't offer the second best experience. You're not going to get the soft start on the motor, you don't get a metal throat plate, you don't get those nice to have features that you get on the Evolution, being the outfeed table or the sliding panel. And because of all of that, it's going to be getting a 3. And finally, we have the Einhell, which I do feel like I've ripped on a little bit throughout this video, but it has to be acknowledged that you can buy 3 of these for the price of any one of these table saws. So the Einhell gets itself a 3. And if we add up all of those scores and divide by 5, in last place, the Einhell comes in with a total score of 2.2. In third place, we have the SKIL, which comes in at 3.6 out of 5. And whilst it has to be acknowledged that this is a great saw, and if you own it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend upgrading to any of the others that we have here. But if you do not have a table saw or you're shopping around to make a serious upgrade, then I think what you need to be looking at is an Evolution or a Dewalt, which conveniently both come tied at first place, with a score of 4.6 out of 5. But I know you're thinking, this is meant to be a video that clearly outlines which one I should buy. So we're going to have to dig a bit deeper. Both of these saws are effectively the same price. I think the Dewalt is £20 more. Both of these table saws can be purchased with a rolling stand, which are 2 things that I find incredibly helpful. I do have to say that the Dewalt stand is definitely a lot more sturdy. So if you are going to be using this on its stand often, you might want to factor that into your decision. The Evolution does offer you a bigger blade, and it is a multi-material blade. So if you're cutting thicker material, or you're not always cutting timber, say you want to cut plastics or metal, then you might want to factor that into your decision. And you can see here that the Dewalt does have a slightly smaller profile when placed on top of that Evolution saw. Both of these saws come with a 3-year warranty, so if you did have any issues within that initial period, you can rest assured that the supplier will sort them out for you. And both of these saws still come with a ton of features. Whichever one you go for, you're getting an included miter gauge, you're getting that really accurate rack and pinion system, you're getting the built-in safety features. Each of them comes with a blade guard, each of them has soft start on the motor, and if you opt for the Evolution, you're also going to get that built-in outfeed table, as well as that sliding panel on the top to increase the range of your crosscuts. So with all of that being said, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I actually think the table saw that offers the best value for money is the Evolution 255 TBL Plus. However, I want to be clear that both of these saws are excellent, and if you own one, I wouldn't actually recommend switching to the other because you're not going to get enough of a difference out of it. And depending on your specific use case, I can definitely see why some people would make an argument to buy the Dewalt instead. I would definitely recommend both of these above the SKIL and certainly above the Einhell, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think is the best saw in the comments below. If you want to see me review any of these saws, then you can watch these videos next. And until next time, happy building.